Well, I'm over at TRADA and I'm joined by Rupert Scott. Now, Rupert, you've been chairing all of the talks that have been going on the Focus Timber workshops this morning. What kind of subjects and topics have you been covering on there? Because it's all been quite fascinating stuff.
Yeah, so this morning we were looking at stretching wood. Well, that was the title, and it was all about seeing what else can you do with wood. Can you build it wider, taller, stronger, quicker, make it last longer? And so we had three talks that were quite heavily from engineers, and they're the ones who, of course, are responsible for making things longer, bigger, taller, etc. We had three quite different areas that they commented on. We had some input from somebody who's worked out in Australia, and they were able to bring some of their expertise from that. We had some talks from university as well. So that was good, and some good participation from the audience as well. There's a panel discussion after each talk. Really keen, really, to just try and get the audience to participate. And then this afternoon, it was somewhat indulgent, really. We had three architects that have designed three very beautiful buildings. The session was entitled Funky Wood. Norman Foster, Fairhursts and DRMM gave us three case study presentations. And then we just had a panel discussion looking at what else can you kind of do with wood, what are the clients wanting, where might wood go. So a free-ranging discussion.
It sounds like there's been absolutely lots of fascinating things discovered and talked about. So tell us a bit about TRADA.
So TRADA is an organisation that's over 80 years old. It stands for Timber Research and Development Association. But today it's really principally involved in the work of getting out design information to architects, engineers, contractors, anybody who's wanting to build in wood. And we specialise in producing information. A lot of it's in fact sheets and books that are online. Just to get it out there, because if you know how to design with it, then you've got a decent chance of specifying it, and then it's got a decent chance of being bought. And fundamentally, I suppose we are in the business of helping maintain and grow markets for wood, but it's all done through communicating technical information and inspirational information, which is what this afternoon was about.
Do you find that's one of the biggest problems, is that people feel that it's quite a difficult medium to work in sometimes, and that puts them off, or is that what you're trying to tackle?
Well, designing and building in anything, whether it's plastic, metal, concrete or timber, always requires knowledge and expertise. And of course there is expertise out there, but as time goes by, new generations come up and they all need to be taught. New techniques come along, new possibilities with wood, as they do with other materials, come along. Clients want to achieve different things, regulations change, so there's nothing ever stands still. You have to actually work quite hard just to keep pace with the change, and of course all the time you're actually wanting to grow, in our case, help grow the market for wood.
And I guess you're very passionate about timber buildings. Why do you think that they're so beautiful?
Well, I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but we've just had three case studies. One was a cancer care home, one was a university chemistry research laboratory, and one was Hastings Pier. It needed to be rebuilt after a fire, and they've just shown us those three buildings. And I mean, frankly, they just are beautiful. You can do such amazing things with wood. It's very tactile, people love touching it, but it can come in great big chunky strong forms, it can come in slender forms, you can have veneers, all sorts of different finishes. You can just do so much with it. And I suppose the thing that's significant for architects and engineers is that they can get much more intimately involved in designing it. A session that we ran this morning was all about digital design. And an architect or engineer who's actually really very clever and knows how to use up-to-date software can go a long way towards actually almost building the thing himself or herself. You just need to work with a fabricator who can take the code, drop it onto a computer-controlled machine, and hey presto, out comes a sort of giant jigsaw. And so as a designer, you can have that pleasure of going a lot further with a project than you once used to be able to.
So even with wood, we're seeing technology is such a big part of how things might go in the future.
Yeah, so I mean, certainly digital activities. I mean, everybody's aware that the world of IT is constantly moving forward, and we tend to be, we're all told about and we're all aware of Google and Facebook and these sorts of things. But digital activities and improvements are happening in all sorts of spheres of life. So you can take a tree and take it down a line and scan it using sort of, I suppose, CT scanning type technology that you use on helping in a hospital, and you can actually work out where all the weaknesses are, inherent weaknesses are in the tree, and kind of work out a cutting program on a sawmilling line to actually optimize the material that you're going to get out of it. So I mean, that's just one example of what's going on behind the scenes that nobody would know about, but that and pieces of software that enable architects, as I've just mentioned, to design end products, end constructions that they want. All of these things are happening, and of course they tend to come together as well. So you might get A and B combines to give you C. So yes, even though people might think wood's been around a long time and it's just an old material, well, frankly, so's iron ore and so's rocks. It's all been around a long time. And wood is benefiting and changing just as much, if maybe even more than other materials.